Okay, so today I actually have for the first time two people from my team here at Baker Tilly's search and staffing team. I have Emily Hamlin and Jen Stafford. I'm really excited to have them. So ladies, if you want to quickly just give a brief intro on yourselves.
So hi, I'm Emily Hamlin, and I'm a senior staffing consultant with Baker Tilly Search and Staffing. I've been with the firm since 2017, and my focus is on placing top accounting and finance talent into contract and contract to hire roles with our external clients in downtown Chicago and the surrounding area.
Jen?
I'm Jennifer Stafford-Kahl, and I've been with the firm for almost 15 years now. I'm a senior staffing manager, and I focus on recruiting for accounting and finance consultants. I staff anywhere from a senior accountant to a CFO on an interim basis.
Great, thanks. And the reason why I asked both of you ladies to be on this call is because we're in a time that we've never been in before, and with the economy the way it is, obviously jobs, the amount of jobs that are open right now are a lot less than before. So I thought it'd be a great way for you to give some advice to people that are looking for jobs, and especially in accounting and finance. So to get started, I was wondering, I have a couple of questions, obviously, like what are the main obstacles that you're hearing from candidates who are very active in their job search right now?
I think one of the biggest things that we see right now is who's hiring. It seems like nobody's hiring. That's one thing. Also, we're really encouraging individuals to invest in their work from home situation, because we just don't know how long we're going to be working from home too. We see a lot of our clients are having our consultants work remote. So really truly invest in your at-home work situation. Also, there's concerns about going back into the office too, the safety there too. So again, we see a lot of our consultants working remote. And then I don't want to lose unemployment is also a huge thing we see right now too. So
how do you respond? When someone tells you that, like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that question?
As far as unemployment,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to vary per, I think, each state too, but how we address that head on is, most likely you're going to be making more on a contracting basis than you would on unemployment typically, but also you're working, you're increasing your skill set and your knowledge base. And I think you're more valuable when you're working versus when you're not too.
Got it. That makes sense.
I was just going to pop in here. Some other things that I've just heard from candidates who are active in their job search is it's harder to stick out in a candidate pool just because there are a higher number of people that are applying to the same jobs. A lot of people I've talked to have interviewed at companies that are experiencing hiring freezes or are hearing a lot about hiring freezes, and just a lot that have maybe applied to jobs online and just haven't heard anything on those jobs. So these are just some other things that I hear a lot of from our candidates.
No, and I think that the applying for jobs and not hearing back, that's been very common, I think, with almost everyone that I've talked to. So with that being said, like, what advice do you guys have for people that are looking for jobs right now?
Keep applying, keep a record of when you've applied, where you've applied, the date too. You can also follow up as well with the client. Reconnecting with old coworkers that you worked with is important. I think revamping your resume, just making sure that's all up to speed, and also maybe getting current references too. So you're ready to have those when a client does want to check references too. I think that's really big right now too. Think of anything else?
Well, when you think
I would say, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say not letting job postings be the end all of a search in general. I hear more often, I think the most recent statistic I've seen is maybe 80% of jobs are landed through your own network. So maybe through someone that you've worked with or for in the past that has put in a good word for that person, and you have kind of that personal touch. So just, I would say, like to Jen's point, continuing to put yourself out there and apply for those jobs, but I wouldn't recommend that to be the only thing that someone's doing when they're active in a search. But, reaching out to people that they may know in their network, even if it's someone who's a new grad, putting yourself out on LinkedIn, saying what your skill set is and what you're looking for, and, really trying to utilize people that that could help you.
Yeah, no, that goes hand in hand with a lot of conversations that I have, because I think you talked about like the job postings, right? Like there are more people applying for jobs now than ever before because the jobs are very limited and there's a lot of people looking. And I think that once a lot of times people apply for a job, like your resume just gets into this big hole that a lot of times like it doesn't get out of it. So that's definitely tough. But everyone that I know that's gotten jobs recently, I would say most of them got it all through just growing their networks. Like you said, like reaching back out to people that are working, or just like calling people to see even who do you know type things. If you're not working, you're at home, and especially things, most things are being done through Zoom. It's a lot easier to reconnect with people because you're not worried about driving or spending money and that kind of stuff. So I think, I think that's great advice. So with, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say too, again, just to reiterate, so you are prepared for those Zoom meetings as well, to invest in, a computer or something at home for your work at home situation where you can take these Zoom meetings and be prepared and whatnot as well, I think is important.
Jen, you've been now, what you said, almost 15 years, right?
Yes.
17. So, and you've seen how much things have changed from working at an office to now all of a sudden people working remote. Like from your perspective, what percentage of people are now working or being hired to be remote consultants, financial consultants, versus going to the office?
Right now it's probably a really high amount, especially our firm, we're taking that approach. We're risk adverse, and we're taking that approach of safety as our first concern with consultants. So we prefer our consultants to work remote, and that's what we're letting our clients know too. I'd say it's a very high percentage, especially over the last 6 months or so. And Emily, you can contest this as well, but I'd say anybody that we've onboarded, it's 80%, maybe probably higher, 85.
Got it.
That individuals are working remote, and they're investing in their working situation at home, whether it's another monitor or quicker internet too. And people seem to be very receptive to it as well. They want to work.
Makes sense. Is that what you're seeing too, Em? 80%, yeah. On the topic of staying virtual, I think it's people are nervous about interviews as is, right? Now they have to completely adapt and do virtual interviews. So what do you tell, what's some advice that you have for candidates to prepare themselves for virtual interviews?
Yeah, so I think this is the norm, just like Jen was saying, with people starting and being onboarded remotely. I would say most interviews that we've seen scheduled have been Zoom or WhatsApp or even Teams. So being prepared for that, obviously, and finding a quiet, private, well-lit space in your house to have an interview is really important. Making sure that other people in your home know that you're going to be interviewing so that you're not going to be disturbed during that time. Making sure that you're still, dressing professionally, avoiding bright colors. This is an interview, and oftentimes it's a first impression on the interviewer. So you want to make sure that it's a good one and the same that you would make if it was in person. Checking to make sure that your computer's audio and webcam are both working. So I would typically recommend doing some type of trial run with the software beforehand, whether it be with a recruiter or, a colleague or a friend that you can do that with, so that you can make sure that both your camera and your microphone are both working properly prior to the interview time. Let's see, checking the background. So I typically recommend making sure behind you is neutral, not a lot of clutter in the background that maybe could distract from the interview. Closing out any unnecessary web browsers on your computer. So if you have tabs or applications open, we all know those are dinging a lot with inbound notifications. Along with your phone, a lot of people have their phone right there with them, and it can be a distraction if a text or a phone call comes through. So putting that on silent and just making sure it's out of reach during the interview too, to make sure that your focus is on the interviewer. Got
it. Cool. Jen, anything else to add to that at all?
I think she said it perfectly.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think one of the things I think you said that really I hope people do is, especially if they're not used to ever doing virtual interviews, is doing like a trial run or a role play. And I know you've helped just from obviously working with Jenna, you've helped a lot of candidates with that too, to get adjusted and so that they feel comfortable with it. So really, really appreciate having both of you ladies on. It's actually really cool to actually do it with my actual team, one of these videos. So I'm also going to I'm going to tag both of you guys in this video and put it on so that people can reach out to you on LinkedIn because that's where these videos get the most amount of views. And yeah, I mean, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Cool. Thanks.